As if we really needed to remind you, but hurricane season is flood season. And joining us with important reminders for every family is Jim Cantori, America's weatherman and reporter for the Weather Channel, and Gene Salvatore, Senior Vice President and Chief Communications Officer for the Insurance Information Institute. Good morning to both of you.
Hey, Carly,
good morning. Fantastic duo this morning. Jim, I'm going to start with you. Of course, you are kind of the face of severe weather, wherever it is. That's where we see you, right? Now, what do you think now? It's been a while since we've seen a major hurricane, but that doesn't mean that that should be far from our minds, right?
No, especially in Florida. Oh, my goodness. I mean, you're surrounded by water, so you have to be prepared for a tropical system at any time. And, it's kind of interesting, you even using today as an example, there's a system in the Eastern Gulf. All right, the Hurricane Center is monitoring it. We see it. Will it develop into a tropical system? Probably not, at least on the Eastern Gulf side. Maybe when it goes over into the Atlantic side. But the point is as these systems try and organize, even though they're being sheared by the strong upper level winds and not allowed to develop, they can still be prolific rain producers.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. We here in Florida, we know that the hurricanes, that you have to worry about the 3s, the 4s, and the 5s, but sometimes those so-called, weakest systems can bring a ton of rain, especially we've already had so much rain. They really can be detrimental, which I know you know.
Exactly, and today's a good point with that. We have to watch that system. And, there's two different issues here. Number one, the potential complacency of not having a major hurricane in the last 10 years. 10 years, which is just boggles my mind. And then the other issue is, do people think, okay, because it doesn't have a name and it can't develop, that means it's not going to do anything? Well, that couldn't be worse from being wrong. I mean, that's absolutely wrong, because we've seen tremendous amounts of rainfall from systems that are trying to develop, and sometimes they can be even worse than an intact hurricane itself. So we have to watch these things.
Well, and Gene, talk about how insurance plays a part in this and what your message is for people watching this morning, because we know in Florida, I mean, we're a state surrounded by water, that gets rain all the time. Are we the most at-risk state in the entire country for flooding? Seems like we should be.
Well, you're certainly at risk for disasters, and it's really important that everybody takes this opportunity now to review your insurance, make sure you understand what you're covered for, what you're not. And the one big disaster that's not covered under standard policies is flood insurance. But you can get separate insurance is available from the National Flood Insurance Program and from a few private insurance companies. So you can get the coverage. It's important that you also go to floodsmart.gov. You can find out what the risk of flooding is and get the name of an insurance agent that can sell you a flood insurance policy.
Well, and what is your advice? I'm one of those that gets completely overwhelmed when you look at these insurance policies and you're trying to figure out if you have enough. What's your recommendation to help maybe boil that down and figure out what you really need, what kind of coverage you really need?
Well, I'm a big believer in making a list. Write down all of your questions. Take out your policy. If you have any questions, just write it down. Call your insurance agent and make sure that they answer all of your questions. Insurance is a highly competitive business. There are a lot of agents out there who want your business. So make sure you get an agent that will answer all those questions for you.
Well, and Jim, as we close here, does anything surprise you anymore? Of course, I know the forecasting has gotten so much better, the technology. Does weather still surprise you? You mentioned earlier you were surprised, that we haven't gotten a major storm in 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know everything about weather. Imagine that. And frankly, I think that's why it appeals to most of us, because we can't control it as humans. It bothers us that we can't control it. So, we'll continue to, I think, as meteorologists in the enterprise, refine the message to make sure that the people at home are best informed in what their risks are, whether it be a system that's a full-blown tropical system or something that's trying to develop but probably can't because of the ensuing conditions in the upper atmosphere. So regardless of what the issue is, it's always important that we give you the best message to prepare yourself and your family.
Well, and I know you work very hard to do that.
Yes.
We see you all over the entire country in front of these storms, and it's been pretty incredible to follow you over the years. So guys, thank you both so much. Any website you want to send us to? I know there was at least one mentioned.
Yes, go to floodsmart.gov. Has great information on how to get flood insurance as well as how to protect yourself and your family from a disaster.
All right, we certainly hope families stay safe. And Jim, you stay safe out there too.
Thanks,
you
Carly.
protect yourself.
You bet.